Today, I wanted to talk about how you can improve your documents by using the editor that's in Microsoft Word. So I've opened up a case study here, and that I've looked through it. There's some problems in it, and so we're going to look at that. And so what I'm going to do to start out with here is just to click on the editor over here. Now, as the editor uh, kind of gets opened up here, it gives us an indication of how good the document is. In this case, it says 95%, but there are a couple things that we might want to pay attention to. First, of course, is we also want to make sure our spelling is correct. And so we're going to click on that for spelling. Here we have a name. That's a name that I'm familiar with, so that one's fine. I'm going to ignore all of those. And here we have a problem, a spelling issue in one of the references, and that indeed is incorrect. It should be SEC Gov, and the student had misspelled that, so that would be a problem. So I'm gonna ignore that. I'm not gonna fix it. The second thing I wanted to look at here is grammar. And now I usually don't pay attention to the refinements down here. I just pay attention to the spelling and grammar. And this says it says removing comma makes a sentence clear. Uh, that's actually a fairly common thing, and we'll find that several times in this document that there's excess commas in there, and so you can click on this, and it gets rid of the comma, moves to the next one. Um, this one says negative, which is true. This shouldn't be a plural. Negatives here are not is not plural, so it should be that. And here, um, the it indicated that the A, it says which was at a 36% and increased other non-operating income. Let's read the whole sentence because I think there's a problem with the whole thing. Luckily, most of the costs and expenses from 2021 went down slightly, with the exception of the investment income, which was at 36% and increased other non-operating income. Now, technically, that should be up or down 36%. We'll just put 36 in there. The next one was that it says increase in and then in total equity. The in is repeated there, so just hit the increase to get rid of that. And then here we have increase with a space in between the N and the C. So get rid of that. And then here, negative again, not in the negatives. Um, in this case, there's no spelling, or there's no period between liabilities and he. So we'll do that. And debt to equity ratios that are above 50%, most definitely 75% or higher, indicates this should be single. The total for inventory turnover, the total inventory turnover increased. Okay. Since, again, we have one of those commas that we probably want to do. Uh, Public's gross profit margin reflected, or in this case, they asked the one to substitute was, uh, and which is probably the right way to do that. You're going to reflect something, and whether it's an increase or decrease, and so that there should have been a word in there for that. Public's it should be ratio, not ration. You think that's a spelling error? Well, ration is actually spelled correctly, but it's not the correct word, so that's a grammar error. Um, Kroger's inventory turnover was significantly high. That's probably okay, and I would just ignore that. The price to earnings ratio showed a large gap uh, between the two companies. It should not be in between the two companies, just a gap. Uh, the difference in the amount of store location plays so that one's correct. The differences in the amount of store location plays a huge role in revenue gap. So I would ignore that one. So this grammar checker doesn't find everything, but you need to look at each one of them to determine whether it's proper or not. Uh, this sentence has a problem. It says, additionally, the company may use a financial analysis tool. So we don't need the AS there. Okay, we ignore that. And I should fix that. The as before. This will help to identify potential benchmark efforts. Oh, that says identity, not identify. So that's was again, this identity is spelled correctly, but it's the wrong word. So do that. The quest for I don't. Sometimes in um, references, the author of that reference would capitalize things that the uh, grammar checker doesn't think ought to be capitalized. So I usually just leave those alone, nor once. Okay. This one, some significant changes from 2019 to 2020 was the changes is plural and was is singular, and so those need to be matched up. So um, this ratio showed the ability for companies to pay for their, okay, is companies is plural, its is singular, so there is proper. Further mentions that ratios would be higher that, again, that is spelled properly, but it's than is the correct thing. And so you can see how you can go through and not only check the spelling, but check grammar. Uh, in this particular case, because of the significant number of grammar errors, there would have been a deduction in the grade. In a doctoral program, I just stop grading when I find that many problems and say, go fix it. And so now you know how to find them and you should fix them. You should never turn on a paper that has those sorts of errors in it.